Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Sparkle English, where I help you improve your English level. My name is Jennifer. Today's lesson is going to be an easy guide to all 9 modal verbs. So let's jump right into the lesson and answer the question, what are modal verbs? Well, modal verbs help us express ability, possibility, permission, advice, obligation, and more. And the structure of modal verbs is a bit different from other verbs. Modal verbs are always followed by the base form of the verb. So for example, we have these 3 modal verbs, can, could, and should. They're always followed directly by the base verb. For example, Jonah can swim well. I could eat a whole pizza. You should study more. A common mistake when people are using modal verbs is that they sometimes will add an S to a modal. For example, Jonah can swim well. Because Jonah is a he, usually we add S to a verb. He plays, he swims, but with modal verbs, we do not add an S. The modal verb stays the same regardless of the pronoun or the subject before it. Jonah can swim well. Another common mistake is using to after a modal. I could to eat a whole pizza. That is incorrect. I could eat a whole pizza. Another common mistake is using ing after a modal. You should studying more. That would be incorrect. You should study more. So remember that with modal verbs, they are always followed by the base form of the verb. So now let's get into each modal verb individually, starting with can. Can is used to talk about ability, permission, or things that are generally possible. Can tells us what someone is able to do, what they are allowed to do, or what can happen in certain situations. For example, my nephew can ride a bike. In this sentence, can demonstrates ability, something my nephew is able to do. Another example, you can borrow my black dress. In this example, can is used to give permission. I allow you to borrow my black dress. Winters can be very cold in Canada. In this example, can is used to express something that is generally possible. As we go through this lesson, I recommend you write a practice sentence and you can share that in the comments section. What is something you can do? Let's go on to could. Could is used to talk about ability in the past, possibilities that are not certain, or to make polite requests. Could is softer and more polite than can. Let's look at some examples. Ben could ski when he was a teenager. In this example, could is used to express past ability. So could is the past form of can. He could ski when he was younger, but now he can't ski. Another example, Ruth could be running late. In this example, could is used to express possibility. It's possible that Ruth is running late. Another example, could you help me unzip my coat? In this example, could is used to make a polite request. You could also say, can you help me unzip my coat? But could is softer and more polite than can. Now let's go on to may. We use may to give permission in a more formal way. And we also use may to talk about things that are possibly true. May sounds more polite and less direct than can. So here are some examples. The students may drink water in class. In this example, may is used to give permission. You could also say the students can drink water in class, but may is a little more formal and more polite. Here's another example. May I use the washroom? In this example, may is used to make a polite request. Many times in the classroom, if a student asks, "Can I use the washroom?" the teacher will correct them and ask them to use the word may. May I use the washroom? My friends may arrive later than expected. In this example, may is used to express possibility. It's possible that my friends will arrive later. As we continue with this lesson, you'll see that there are many modal verbs that can be used to make the same sentence, but just remember that the modal verbs may and could are more formal or a bit more polite than can. So let's continue on to might. Might is used to talk about possibility when we are less certain about the result. It suggests that something is possible, but we are not very sure. We can also use might to make suggestions. Here's an example. Jerry might leave work early. In this example, might is used to express possibility. He might leave work early. You could also say, Jerry may leave work early. But might is even less certain than may. He might leave work early. It's sort of a weak possibility. Here's another example. You might want to iron your shirt. In this example, might is used to make a gentle suggestion. You might want to iron your shirt. Again, you could also use may. You may want to iron your shirt. However, might is even more gentle. It's just a slight suggestion. Now let's go on to must. And must is used to express a strong requirement or necessity. It shows that something is not optional. For example, you must wear a seatbelt. This is an obligation, and must is used to express that it's a requirement. It's not optional. Here's another example. Guests must arrive at the church before noon for the wedding. Again, this is a requirement. It's a strong obligation. Here's another example. Dad's car isn't in the driveway. He must be in town. Well, in this example, must is used to form a logical conclusion. So while we usually use must to express requirements or strong obligations, we can also use it to show a logical conclusion when we are very sure something is true. Well, Dad must be in town because he's not home. If I said he might be in town or he may be in town, that would just be a possibility. When you say he must be in town, that means you're sure of it. You're almost positive that he's in town. So now let's go on to a semi-modal verb, which is have to. So have to isn't a true modal verb. It's a semi-modal. And we use it to express obligation, duty, or necessity. In informal spoken English, have to is also used to make a strong suggestion or recommendation. So I'm going to explain how this is different from a modal verb, but let's first look at some examples. I have to do the laundry this afternoon. In this example, have to is used to express obligation. So have to expresses necessity just like must. Have to is also much more common than must, especially when you're talking casually with your friends or family. I have to do the dishes. We have to get milk from the supermarket. Must sounds much more formal. To show you clearly why have to is a semi-modal and not a modal verb is because it does change form. So let's look at this example. Jessica has to wake up early tomorrow. You can see that have to has been changed to has to. And with true modal verbs, we do not change the form. I can, Jessica can. We would not say Jessica cans with an S. But because have to is a semi-modal verb, we do change the form. Jessica is the subject of the sentence, and because Jessica equals she, third person singular, we change that to has to, not have to. Okay? But have to functions like a modal verb, and that's why I'm including it in this list. Let's look at another example. You have to see Ryan Gosling's new movie. In this example, have to is being used to give a recommendation. You have to see it. It's a strong recommendation. I think the movie is so great that you have to see it. So now let's go on to should. Should is used to give advice or say what is the best or right thing to do. It's usually used for advice or suggestions. It can also express expectations about what will probably happen. So let's look at some examples. I think Grandma should adopt a cat. In this example, should is being used to give advice or make a suggestion. My advice is that Grandma should adopt a cat. Here's another example. You should get a sports massage. Again, this is advice or a suggestion. Here's another example. We should arrive at your house in under 20 minutes. In this example, should is being used to express an expectation about what will probably happen. I'm giving an estimation. We should arrive at your house in under 20 minutes. This is when I expect we will arrive. So now let's go on to our next modal verb, which is would. And would is used for polite offers or requests, imagined or unreal situations, and habits in the past. For example, would you like a homemade cookie? In this example, would is being used to make a polite offer. Instead of saying, do you want a homemade cookie? I say, would you like a homemade cookie? It's much more polite. Here's another example. I would move to Quebec if I spoke French. In this example, would is used for an imagined situation. I don't speak French, but if I did speak French, I would move to Quebec. Another example. When I was a kid, we would go to Blockbuster every Friday night. In this example, would is being used to talk about habits in the past. Something that I did a lot in the past, my past routine. So let's go on to our final modal verb, which is shall. Now, shall is more commonly used in British English for suggestions or polite offers. It's not as commonly used in North America. For example, shall we go to the beach today? In this example, shall is being used to make a suggestion. Here's another example. Shall I help you carry your bags inside? In this example, shall is being used to make an offer, a polite offer. You shall receive an invitation by the end of the week. In this example, shall is being used to make a formal statement or a promise. Again, shall is more common in British English, but of course you can still use it in North America, and many people do. I hope this gave you a good overview of the modal verbs. In my next video, I'm going to do a quiz based off of this video. So stay tuned for that, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I promise that I will be publishing more videos more frequently. I've had a very crazy past year, so thank you for being patient, and I look forward to continuing to help you with your English level. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in my next lesson.